Okay, so I'm going to go over um, some more command line, but this time, we've mostly been concentrating on command line with our computer. But the command line is very, very powerful. It allows us to do anything the graphical user interface can do, including go out to the internet. So we're going to start talking about the internet, and we're going to use the command line to give us the information that we want to know. All right? So we're going to try and understand how networks work and how the internet works. And it's a complicated story. And we're going to be using continuous layers of abstraction so that we don't get lost in the morass of details. And that's that's an MSA security principle as well. People have the idea that when they're visiting a web page, they're looking at a gorilla through the bars. But that's not what's happening. At a very important level, understand that when you visit a website, you're downloading a bunch of files from that website to your computer and then running those files through a very complicated program called a browser, which presents something to you. It's very different than looking at something that doesn't affect your eyes. All right, now, the first part of this lesson is to listen to a video from Vint Cerf. Vint Cerf is one of the giants of computer science. He is the person who invented Internet Addressing Protocol, which is as close as anyone gets to being able to claim that they invented the internet. There's another 7 minutes on what a browser does. That's not given by the person who invented it. Sir Tim Berners-Lee invented HTTP and HTML. But they're very good. Introductions. This lesson, as far as design principle, really looks at domain separation, because we're going to be talking about things that you do that only affect you, and that happens in user space, and then things that affect anyone on the computer, which you have to use sudo or enter supervisor or kernel space to do. If we want to change our IP address or the way the DNS servers work, we have to use sudo. All right. So let's start, right? Don't be concerned that this only takes a few minutes. With students and explaining all of this, it will fill out to be much more. All right. So we can imitate a browser and issue a GET request to a browser from a command called curl. So I'm going to get all of the information from the browser as if I typed in http www.jjay.cuny.edu. So if I type it right over there, I get all of the HTML, recognize the divs. Now I can type this into my browser. Well, let's just get the URL. And now go to my browser, open up a new tab. I guess the hotkey doesn't work. And click on John J. Criminal Justice, seeing the user, and here it is. Pictures, it all looks nice. But the same thing and more just came back to me in this file. Okay. So we could see so we could get a lot of information from this, and we could use the trace. Let's see if we go to the top of this, and so I'm going to search for the $ prompt. Oh, $75 million campaign messed me up. All right, let's see if we can do another one. Oh, here it is. So, okay. So here was the first response, hostname not found in the DNS cache. But we see what version of HTTP we're using, what the host was. We got the page back. We got a 200. That's okay. The content language is English. That doesn't surprise us. We're already finding out now by just going through this that the server is Microsoft IIS, right? So now if I were going to start to do reconnaissance and start to say, well, how could I attack this? I would start looking for vulnerables in IIS 7.5. It's running PHP 5.6. And if I go to Google and I look at PHP, so 5.329 looks like it was released. We're running 5.6, pretty good. So it's up to date. And then, so anyway, this gives us a lot of information about it. But we got this information to the standard terminal, and we really want to have this in a file. So you can do that by adding a -o and specifying a path to a file. So we can take this and let's get out of password store because I certainly don't want it there. But if I do cd documents, Nicole, and then I make a directory called net, I cd into net, I can -o my file dot HTML. Okay, and so all right, the head comes up. Let's see if my file is there. I can see ls-lhaf. It's 54K, and now I can search through it. Okay. We can even use usernames and passwords through curl. We just pass a username and a password. All right. Um, so the default method that we use in HTTP is a GET, and so that's the simplest kind of request. So we're just getting it through, just asking for it, and coming back with 200 means it succeeded in getting it. Now, if we only wanted the top of the page, right, we could just get the head. So I'm gonna put it right here, say -o head dot txt. Now, if I cat that head, you see all of the meta values about the web server. So we're getting a lot of information. Now, a ping is often used to debug network problems, and it measures the connectivity and whether or not we're getting data back. So we can ping an address on the internet. So let's ping Google. So the -C means we're only going to send 4 packets, and we're going to see what happens. Okay. And you see that we're getting this back. Tells us that we got it. We got 100% received. How long it took? 3 seconds. That was it. Trace route requires sudo. Trace path doesn't. This will tell us a little bit more about where any bottlenecks are occurring. So we're not getting the replies. The MTR command combines the ping and the trace path. So let's do that with How to Geek. And so this shows us when we're getting the packets, how long it's taking in between in milliseconds, and it's giving us a whole breakdown of the different servers that we're crossing on the way there and back. And now I'm going to quit this. So if we